A warm welcome to all the students for this fifth lecture. Today we are going to discuss several uninformed and informed search strategies in AI. In the last lecture, we had discussed about control strategies. What is a control strategy? Control strategy is the one which helps us to decide which rule to apply next during the process of searching for a solution to a problem. Often, more than one rule will have its left hand side matching with the current state. Then, control strategies help us to decide which is the next rule to apply. What to do when there are more than one matching rules? Okay. Now, in this case, when there are more than one matching rules that can be applied for the current state, okay, the control strategy algorithm helps you to choose one out of the two, the most relevant one out of the two. Now, a good control strategy should have two properties. The first requirement is that it should cause motion. For example, we've already considered in the last lectures a waterjet problem. So let's consider waterjet problem. Suppose we have to implement a simple control strategy of starting each time at the top of the list of rules and choosing the first applicable one. Now, if we did that, we would never get solution to the problem, as what was our rule 1? Rule 1 it was actually the rule where you are filling the 4-gallon jar with the water. So every time in every iteration, okay, suppose the control strategy is such that the very first rule in the list of rules have to be applied first and then the next. Then what will happen in every iteration? This rule number 1, that is the rule where 4-gallon jar is filled to the fullest capacity will be called indefinitely, okay, which would mean indefinitely filling the 4-gallon jar with water. Okay, so the control strategies that do not cause motion will never give you a solution. So you will end up, your algorithm ultimately will end up filling the 4-gallon jar without noticing that it is already filled. Okay, so every time that the cycle or the repetition will be done, the first rule, that is filling 4-gallon jar, will be again and again applied. So as a result, we will just end up going nowhere. So this is an example of a situation where the control strategy does not cause motion. It does not take you to another rule every time you get stuck with the rule number 1 for every cycle. Why this happens? Because we have decided control strategy such that every time in every iteration that the rules are applied, the first rule should be applied first, then the next, not based on any other measures, right? Now let us focus on the second requirement of the control strategy. The control strategy, a good control strategy rather, okay, should be systematic. Now, what is the meaning of systematic control strategy? Suppose the control strategy is such that on each cycle, okay, we choose at random from among the applicable rules. So suppose there are different applicable rules, then at random we are simply choosing one of the rule, okay, from those which are applicable at that particular state. Now, this strategy is better than the first one. Why? Because now it will cause motion, because since there is randomness, every time the same rule won't be applied. Okay, but then what will happen? So although it at least causes motion, but we are likely to arrive to some states, or maybe we are likely to arrive to the same state several number of times during the process. Okay, and there would be many more steps than what are necessary. For example, since we are applying the rules at random, it can so happen that the first rule will be applied wherein the 4-gallon jar is filled completely. Then a particular rule will be applied next where jar is emptied completely. Then again rule number 1 may be applied because of randomness. So you end up filling the jar and emptying the jar so many number of times, which is actually a wasteful set of steps. So no doubt you may get solution, but you are simply going to have wasteful computations and the number of steps will be very much extra. Okay. Now because the control strategy is not systematic, Okay, we may explore a particular useless sequence of operators here several number of times before we actually finally find the solution. So then these two examples which I have told you, these are the two examples wherein you can see that the control strategy, if it does not cause motion, what can happen, or the control strategy which is not systematic, then what could happen. Okay, so then so to make this control strategy cause motion and be systematic, okay, there are different control strategies which we are going to study in this particular chapter. Okay, so in general, these control strategies, they are classified as uninformed or blind search control strategy and informed, okay, or directed search control strategy. Okay, so let us look at the uninformed or blind search control strategy. Okay, we have already seen that what is a state space or the problem space. It is basically a kind of graph, okay, where every non-root node, okay, it is nothing but these are the states which are reachable from the initial state, and leaf node in that would mean the goal nodes or the solution nodes. So ultimately it's basically a graph, and whenever we are searching in graph, what kind of search strategies are useful? We have already learned breadth first search and depth first search are two basic control strategies that are handy in this particular case. So let us now see what is actually blind state space or uninformed state space. Okay, so in this kind of control strategy, we do not have any additional information about the states beyond the problem definition. Okay, then total search space has to be looked for the solution, because we don't have any information pertaining to which state is better than the other state. We don't have any information, and hence we will have to look for the solution in the entire search space. No information is used to determine preference of one child over the other. And the examples of these search strategies are breadth first search, depth first search, and there is another one which is a combination of breadth first search and depth first search called as depth limited search, or it is also called as depth limited depth first search. Okay, now this is an example of a state space which does not have any extra information pertaining to any state. Okay, so what is the blind state space or uninformed state space? Okay, now usually how do we know that, okay, we start from state A, that's an initial state. Now from A there are two immediate neighboring states, that is B and C, but how do you know whether B has to be traversed first or C has to be traversed first? In this case, there is no information pertaining to the goodness of node, how good one node is with respect to another node. There is no information which is given to us with respect to the goodness of each node with respect to the other node. And since this information is not there, okay, we end up randomly choosing any one of the child, because this is a blind search. So that means, because it's a blind state space or uninformed search strategy for this state space, okay, from A we may end up choosing B or we may end up choosing C. Okay, which means that since there is no goodness value present associated with any of these states, okay, we cannot say that this child is preferred over this child or this child is preferred over this particular child. Okay, so in such scenario, the search techniques which work are basically your breadth first search control strategy, your depth first search control strategy, and a combination of both of these, that is iterative deepening search strategy. We are going to see these strategies one by one in the future lectures. Let's go to the second broad category, informed or directed search control strategy. Now this strategy is applicable when the state space now contains some information associated with each of the state. The information that tells you which state is better than the other state, or which state is good. The goodness value is there with each state, which tells you how good a particular state is with respect to all other states. Okay, so whenever the state space has this goodness information or extra information with respect to each state given to us, For such kind of state space, the strategies that we use are called as informed or directed search control strategies. So what happens in this control strategies? There is some information about the problem space or the state space. We call it as heuristic. Heuristic is a word that tells you that there is some extra information pertaining to each of the node. So this heuristic is used to compute the preference among the children for exploration and expansion. Okay. Examples of this search strategies are best first search control strategy, problem decomposition search strategy, A star, then there is AO star, and at the end there is also a bidirectional search control strategy that's called as mean end analysis. So all these search strategies we are going to study in this unit 1. Now what is a heuristic function? It is basically a mathematical function that maps each state to a numerical value which depicts the goodness of a node. Okay, for example, h of n equal to value. That means if n is a node, n is a current node, then h of n calculates the heuristic value for that particular node. Okay, where h is a heuristic function and n is the current state. Example of such state space is traveling salesperson problem. We have already addressed this in the previous lectures, wherein there is a salesperson who is supposed to visit some set of cities, okay, in the optimal amount of time or with a minimum cost. Okay, so in traveling salesperson problem, the heuristic value that is associated with each node or city might reflect the estimated distance of the current node from the goal node. Okay, the heuristic we use here is called as HSLD, or it is also called as straight line distance heuristic. Okay, which tells you roughly what it means is if you extend a scale from one city to another city in a straight line, okay, what is the distance that separates these two cities? That's called as straight line distance. Okay, this is an example of the state space which has some heuristic values or information associated with each of the state. So this is an example of informed state space. Now you see each node here has some value that is written in this box. This is called as heuristic value or goodness value of that node. Okay, so let's see. S is the start state and S has three immediate child nodes, that is A, B and C. A has heuristic value 2, B has heuristic value 6, C has heuristic value 5. Okay, and as we have already seen, what is the meaning of heuristic value? It is the estimated distance of the current state from the goal state. It is the estimated distance of the current state from the goal state. Now in case of traveling salesperson, okay, the heuristic value over here, which one will be chosen? That state will be chosen which has minimum heuristic value. Okay, now here suppose salesman is present in city S. Now from city S, if it is going to city A, then this would mean that when you are in A, you are just 2 kilometers or 2 units away from the destination or the goal city. But if you choose to be in city B, it means you are 6 kilometers or 6 units away from the goal state or the destination city. And if you select this C, city C, then it means you are 5 kilometers or 5 units away from the goal state or the destination city. Your aim is to reach the destination city, okay, in minimum number of time or minimum unit, you can say work. So from S, okay, I think we will select A. Why? Because if I go to city A, then we are just 2 units away from the goal state. Okay, so selecting A is better than selecting B and C, right? So from S we will choose A. Then when you are in city A, there are 2 immediate neighbors. From A you can go to D, and if you reach D, then you are 10 away. So estimated distance, approximate distance, okay, from this current node to the goal node is 10 units or 10 kilometers. whereas estimated distance from this node to the goal node is 8 units or 8 kilometers. So you are definitely going to choose the minimum one, that is E. And this way the search is going to get along, and this is how you are going to get the path from the initial state to the goal state. Now this is an example of an informed search space wherein there is some information apart from the problem definition that is given as an input. Okay. Next we are going to see the very first among the uninformed search traversal techniques, that is breadth first search traversal or BFS. Let us quickly see the algorithm. We create a variable called as node list and set it to the initial state. Until a goal state is found or until the node list is empty, we are going to repeat the following procedure. First, we remove the first element from the node list and call it E. If the node list was already empty, then we quit. Sub step B, for each way that each rule can match the state described in E, do apply the rule to generate the new state. If the new state is a goal state, then we quit and return this state. Otherwise, we add the new state at the end of the node list, and then we repeat this step 2. To understand this in a better way, let us see a small example. Consider the following state space to be searched. In this particular state space, A happens to be the initial state and G happens to be the goal state that is given to us. Okay, so as per the algorithm, we create a node list and we set A as an element of this node list, because A is the initial state or the start state. So initially A is loaded onto the node list. Next we check whether the first element in the node list is a goal state. Now since A is not the goal state, it is expanded. And procedure of expansion is nothing but finding out who are the immediate neighbors of this particular state. So there are two states, that is B and C. So what we do is we remove A out of the node list and all its immediate neighbors are added to the node list. That is what we will do in our second step. So A, since it was not a goal state, we decided that we will expand A, and then we removed A from the node list and its immediate neighbors, that is B and C, are added to the node list. Now the order of adding B and C can be is not defined, well defined. So you can either insert C first and then B, otherwise, or you can insert B and then C. That is because there is no goodness value associated with each node. It's a blind state space or uninformed state space. So no child has preference over the other. So what we have done is A we have removed from the node list because it is already explored, and all its possible child nodes, that is B and C, they are loaded onto the node list. Next we check what is the first element from the node list. B happens to be the first element of the node list. We check, we examine whether B is a goal node. Now B is not the goal node, so B can be expanded further. So in the next step what we will do, B we are going to remove from the node list and all its immediate children, that is D and E, will be appended to the node list. So in the next step B will be removed and D and E will be added. So now the node list which is updated has D and E appended to itself and C is there as a previous value. Next, first element from the node list is C. Again we check whether C is the goal node. C is not a goal node, so C can be expanded further. So what we do, all the possible child nodes of C, that is D and G, they are added to the node list. Notice that since D is already present in the node list, you don't have to again add D. Okay, so the neighbors, immediate neighbors of C or immediate children of C, that is D and G, they are supposed to be added to the node list. We don't add D, but we add only G. We append G to the node list, and this C we remove from the node list because it is now already explored. Now please note, although G, which is a goal node, is now present in the node list, okay, node list actually represents all the nodes that are being generated, but these nodes are not yet evaluated. A node will be evaluated only when it reaches the front of this node list. So unless and until a node happens to be the first node in the node list, until that time that node will not be evaluated. And unless and until a particular node is evaluated, algorithm will not know whether that node is a goal state or whether it is not. So although G is added over here, since it's a blind state space, algorithm doesn't know that this G actually is a goal state. So we continue. Next, D is the first element of the node list. We check whether D is a goal node. D is not a goal node, so then D can be expanded further. So what we do? We remove D from the node list, and all its possible children, that is only F, is appended to the node list. So in the next step, D will be removed from the node list and F will be appended to the node list. Then E happens to be the next frontmost element. So again we check whether E is a goal node. E is not a goal node, so E is now further expanded. Note that E does not have any child nodes, so we can simply remove E from the node list and we need not add any other node in the node list because there are no children left for node E. So in the next step, we remove E out of the node list and keep the list as it is. Next, first element of the node list happens to be G, and now when we evaluate the first element of the node list, we realize that G happens to be the goal node, and since G is a goal node, what we do, the algorithm stops. So this G will be removed from the node list and it will be added to the list of traverse nodes, and the algorithm stops. So the algorithm ends by saying that the goal node is found and the traversal order happens to be A, B, C, D, E and G. Okay. However, when implementing this breadth first search, okay, we have to use certain data structures. As we know, for breadth first search in data structures, we have implemented a queue. So here we will maintain two lists. One is the open list, another will be the closed list. Open list will have all those nodes which are generated but which are yet to be evaluated. Closed list will contain all the nodes which are already evaluated or already visited. So at the end of this algorithm, as the list they go on updating, at the end the traversal order you will find in the closed list. So now let us see how it can be solved. Over here, this is the state space that is given for us. Initial state is A, and the goal states, there are two goal states, G and N. They are present at different level, and we maintain two lists. One is the open list and other is the closed list. So how the algorithm is now modified? So what we do is, the start state is first added to the open list. So we add the start state to the open list. A is added to the open list. Next we find out who are the children of A. Now A has two child nodes, that is B and C. Okay. So after generating B and C, there won't be any more child left to be generated. So we will say then that A is already visited. So what we will do, the children of A, that is B and C, now we are going to add it to the open list, and A itself will be removed from the open list and added to the closed list. Okay. So first we will add A from the open list, we are going to remove it and we are going to add it to the closed list. We are going to add it to the closed list, and children of A, that is B and C, will be added to the open list. Okay. Whenever any node is added to the closed list, it simply means that that node is already evaluated, it is already explored. There is no child of that node remaining to be generated. Right. Now again, while adding the children nodes, that is B and C, to the open list, we can add them in any order. You could have inserted C first and B next, or vice versa, because the order here is not important. It is uninformed search space, and as a result there is no preference of one child over the other. There is no goodness value associated with any of these nodes. So let us proceed. Next, in the next iteration, B happens to be the first element of the open list. We examine to find out whether B is a goal node. B is not a goal node. As a result, we explore or we generate the children of B. Now B has three child nodes, D, E and F. So once they are already generated, B will be already explored. So what we do? We add B to the closed list now. We add B to the closed list so that it can be removed from the open list, and the children of B, that is D, E and F, are added to the open list in any order. Okay. Next, C happens to be the first the first element of the open list. Okay. So we examine whether C is a goal node. C is not a goal node. So then we add C to the closed list and remove it from the open list. And the children of C, that is G and H, they are appended to the open list in any order. Next, first element of the open list happens to be D. We check whether D is the goal node. D is not the goal node, so then D can be expanded further. So when D is expanded further, I and J are generated. So I and J we are going to add it to the open list, append to the open list, and D we are going to remove from the open list, add it to the closed list. So D we are going to add it to the closed list, remove from the open list, and the children of D are added to the open list, that is I and J. Also note that if a particular node is already added in the open list, then you don't have to again add it. There should not be any redundant appearance of node in the open list. Next, E is the frontmost element or the first element of the open list. So then E can be evaluated further. Okay. We check whether E is a goal node. E is not a goal node, so we expand E further. E, when expanded, generates K, that's a child node. So E will be added to the closed list. E will be removed from the open list, and child of E, that is K, will be added to the open list. Notice that although K is the goal node, it is not yet examined. Examination will happen only when that particular node will appear as the first element in the open list. So K just generated, it is not yet evaluated. Algorithm does not know so far that K is a goal node. Then the next node is F. So then we check whether F is a goal node. F is not a goal node. We can expand it further. When you expand it further, we realize that F also has a child node called as K. So what we are supposed to do, F has to be removed from the open list and added to the closed list, and K has to be appended to the open list. But since open list already has this K, we don't have to add it again. So we simply proceed by removing F from the open list and adding F to the closed list. Next, G happens to be the next frontmost element. We check, we examine whether G is a goal node. Okay. Now here, G is not a goal node. By mistake we have written here G. So the goal node here actually is K and N, not G. Please note. Okay, so G is not the goal node. Goal node is K and N. G is not the goal node, so G can be expanded further. So when G is expanded further, G has two child nodes, L and M. So L and M will be added to the open list, and G itself will be removed from the open list, added to the closed list. So G is added to the closed list and G is removed from the open list. Next child node is first element of the open list is H. H is the element. We check whether H is the goal node. H is not the goal node. So what we do? We remove H from the open list, add it to the closed list. H is removed from the open list, added to the closed list, and children of H. H does not have any child node, so none is added to the open list. Okay. So then the next frontmost element happens to be I. So I is not a goal node, so I will be removed from the open list. I will be added to the closed list. I will be added to the closed list. It will be removed from the open list. And the children of I, that is N and O, will be added to the open list. Then J happens to be the frontmost element. Again, J is not the goal node, so J can be expanded further. J does not have any child node, so J will be removed from the open list. J will be added to the closed list. We remove J from the open list. We add J to the closed list. And since there are no child nodes that J has, nothing will be appended to the open list. So this is our new open list. Next, K is the first element or the frontmost element of the open list. We examine to check whether K is a goal node. Now please note, K is a goal node. So as a result, the algorithm stops because we have found the goal node. Okay, and just before the final traversal order is determined, okay, K is also added to the closed list. And the final answer, that is a traversal order, you are going to see in the closed list. So if you go with this order, you realize that we started from A, then from A we explored B, then from B we went to C. All the nodes at level 0 and level 1 are already examined. Then from C, okay, then we went to node D. Then from D we went to E. From E we went to F. From F to G. From G to H. And then after examining all the nodes at this level and checking whether there is checking and making sure that there is no goal node in this particular level, we proceeded to the next level. So from H we moved to I. From H we have moved to I. Then from I to J, and then to reach K. And the moment we reach K, we realize that we have reached the goal node. Okay. Now, looking at the advantage of this breadth first search, the very first thing is that if there is a goal node, then it is bound to give you a goal node. And the second thing is, if there are more than one goal nodes, this breadth first search method is going to find out the shallowest solution. Always it is going to find out the shallowest solution. Okay. Now, if you see the disadvantages, first of all, since as I have told you, what is open list? Open list contains all the nodes that are generated but not yet evaluated. So as you can see, as the algorithm proceeds, so many nodes have to be loaded onto the open list. Okay. Now in our example, that is tic-tac-toe example, we have already seen that we start from one node. Then for the first player there are 9 options or 9 moves that we can make. Then for the second player, for each of these 9 there are 8 moves, possible moves. And then in the next turn, for each of these 8 moves there are 7 moves each, and so on. So what happens is, the number of nodes, as we go deeper down the tree, the number of nodes at every level, it increases exponentially. So you may end up, if this kind of search, when we have tic-tac-toe game, if this kind of search is made using breadth first search, it can so happen that there might be a point somewhere in the game where open list, which actually is nothing but the RAM, okay, might not be sufficient to hold all the nodes, and the game might crash, and the scenario is called as combinatorial explosion. Combinatorial explosion. So the most important disadvantage of this particular breadth first search algorithm is that it takes toll on memory. So with this we stop for today. In our next lecture we are going to see another uninformed search strategy, and that is depth first search. Thank you.